And that is how you deadlift. Welcome back, YouTube. Not intentionally doing a Sam Solo compression, although it does look that way. We are just pulling up to the gym, trying to get our mind right. Just knocked out our daily Duolingo for some Spanish, approaching 1 year straight of not missing a single day, so got a lot to be proud of there. Other than that, yeah, I mean, honestly, just a lot on the mind. I know that we only see so much of each other's lives through YouTube, TikTok, social media in general, and what we're willing to show. So yeah, been going through a lot lately. Been kind of stressed, overwhelmed, feeling a slight depression, just kind of a seasonal routine it feels like, but navigating it, doing therapy, doing work, talking to people close to me, and yeah. But ultimately, just a good reminder that while we see only a fraction of people's lives, to have empathy, compassion, understanding, grace, and to provide those not only for others but to yourself as well. I think it's really easy to give a lot of other people grace without providing it to yourself. And with that said, I mean, I think a lot of the narratives that we tend to see, you know, we see all the highlights of people's lives and we wish that our lives were like theirs. And I think it was Elon Musk who had said, if you see the chaos that goes on in my mind, if you feel what it's like to be me on a daily basis, you would not want to trade places. And that's coming from someone who spent $44 billion on Twitter just for the fuck of it. So keep that perspective. Today, we are going to hit a little posterior chain day, some glutes, some hamstrings, a little upper back work. And yeah, so let's get in there and make it happen. Little just general lower body warm up, glute bridges, walking lunges, a little bit of inward rotation on that outside leg. Try to stretch that glute out a little bit more. Just trying to feel that glute squeeze at the top. Very easy for the hamstrings, which are still actually sore from Monday. Posterior day, so these lunges are pretty much the only quad stimulus other than Monday. We'll get some upper body warm up now, do some straight arm pull downs, and then get into the real work. We're gonna take this hoodie off. Using the straight arm pull down, one of the great ways to really isolate the lats without fatiguing the grip too much. Again, kind of a great way to start an upper back workout, just firing the lats, but also a great way to finish, because once your grip's fatigued from rows and all that other stuff, you can just beat the crap out of them with this. Starting to push the intensity a little bit harder. While these are warm-up sets, I still want the warm-up sets to be moderately challenging. So maybe leaving 3 or 4 reps in the tank as opposed to a working set, maybe like 1 or 2. Time to get into the glute and hamstring work. We'll do some glute hyperextensions, some dumbbell lying leg curls, some RDLs, and then we'll get into a little bit of upper back work before we get out of here. Not the most ideal way to hold the weight, but get a little isometric bicep contraction. A little slippery. Woo. I make that sound a lot on this program. Woo. Cannot figure out how to get this set up. I have no friends. I gotta get creative. Very challenging, My foot was cramping the entire time. Staying on the bench was the hardest part. I feel like I had to keep my hips slightly off the bench to be able to balance on the bench. Otherwise, I felt like my left hip was just sliding off the more I tried to push it down. But is it worth the setup? I'm not sold just yet, but we got 2 more sets. So we'll do some seated leg curls just as an insurance policy later. Don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. Again, challenging, strong adductor. The foot really just cramping the entire time is more distracting. Good hamstring activation, I wouldn't say great. One benefit I think is you do have to go a lot slower, both eccentrically and concentrically, to maintain the position of the dumbbell. But yeah, I don't know, maybe the more I do it, the more comfortable I'll get with it. But honestly seems like a little bit more of a headache than anything else right now. Maybe because I already have a headache. I don't know, I feel like that was better, honestly, doing it without the shoes, using the feet. Maybe the contour of the arch of the foot makes it a little bit easier than kind of the rigidity of the Nike Air Force soles, or it's just the holy socks that I have that are blessed. A little too much sprinting in these socks. They need to be retired. Going a little bit lighter here and just slowing down the tempo quite a bit. If I'm powering through and just trying to focus on being explosive, 405, set of 10, set of 12 maybe, on a good day. But going maybe 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, I don't know, honestly I'm not counting during the set, but either way, just slowing things down, keeping tension the entire time, making sure that I'm pulling and initiating with the hamstrings and glutes, and then lowering with them as well. Big difference, even with almost half the weight.
but we'll probably still go a little heavier. Powerlifting days are a distant memory, but the mentality that got me there, that made me successful there, is still in there. Just have to redirect it to tension and a little bit of pain instead of just force, aggression, and pain. Tempo sped up a little bit on the way up. Be concentric or positive. Maybe a little bit faster than I wanted to go, but keeping tension in the hamstrings and out of the lower back. So can't complain too much. Kind of in the 8 to 12 rep range is what we're shooting for. 225, hit that for about 15. I'd say a little aggressive for some tempo work. We'll get one more set here before we move on. Ooh. Sometimes you just get a song that pumps you up. Maintaining tempo, but try to push this towards failure in the right places. Not lower back failure, but glute and hamstring failure. It's a big difference in activation when we focus on just getting down to the floor. That's not maximal hamstring range of motion. It can be, but the big priority should really be focusing on pushing your butt back as far as it can go. And for a lot of people, that will mean the weight's not gonna touch the floor, and that's okay. Because again, you're not powerlifting. In bodybuilding, general fitness, applying tension to the right muscles, preventing risk of injury, things like that. Just focus on appropriate range of motion for the intended muscle group. In this case, I'm really just focused on pushing my butt back as far as possible, maximally stretching those hamstrings, and then pushing my hips back to the starting position, not lowering from my lumbar spine. Big difference. And that is how you deadlift. Yeah! Yeah! Hamstring curls, or more specifically, seated hamstring curls, are not on my plan today. Currently at Adapt, we do not have a lying leg curl. Did the dumbbell lying curl today. It was okay. It wasn't phenomenal. So trying to kind of ensure I'm covering all my bases with a few sets of seated leg curls also. So usually as an insurance policy, if something's not in my plan, I don't do more than 2 sets of it. I think that if I get 2 really hard working sets, I'm challenging the muscle, but not overworking the muscle. And that's just individual experience. Maybe out of the 3 sets of lying leg curls, the first one's kind of a feeler. The 2 last sets were a little bit more challenging, but yeah, I don't need to tell you. You saw it. We are done with lower body. We're gonna get some upper back work in. Pretty light on the upper back, honestly. We're gonna do some assisted pull-ups and then some low pulley rows, some rear delt flies, and then we'll be done. I know what a lot of people are thinking, all 30 of you. Yes, I can do pull-ups. Yes, I don't need the assisted machine. But how many of you can see really good, strict form, slow tempo, concentric, eccentric, positive, negative pull-ups done with very intentional execution? You don't see it very often, I will say that. The focus being trying to pull my chest up to the bar as much as possible and think about pulling the bar, kind of breaking and bending the bar as I'm pulling up. Try to do that with a regular pull-up. If you can do 15 reps like that, good for you. If you can't, don't talk shit about the assisted pull-up. One more set. I think the use of an assisted pull-up machine is kind of like how everyone treated Smith machines like 10 years ago, where people were like, oh, Smith machine, that's not functional. Why would you use that to squat? If you can't squat with a barbell, you just shouldn't squat at all. Then really successful people like C-Bum use the Smith machine, and everyone wants a Smith machine now. The idea of functional is the most subjective, individualized thing. Functional for what? If your goal is to build muscle, you can do it a million different ways. Cables, barbells, dumbbells, machines. I mean, oh, they just squatted and used barbells and dumbbells and all this stuff. They didn't use machines. Why are you using machines? Ultimately, you're applying stress to a muscle to force it to grow. How you're applying stress to that muscle. Your body doesn't know you're using a dumbbell versus a barbell versus a machine or a cable. It reads varied degrees of tension applied to the muscle. Motor neurons are reading stability. If you really think your body is going to look at a dumbbell versus a cable machine and choose which one it wants to grow more from, you're pretty fucking stupid, you old dusty bitch. That felt really good. Keeping the elbows low, keeping the traps down, pulling into the rib cage. Probably need to go down lower for the next 2 sets. Getting 8 on all of those sets with good form, probably not gonna happen. Really solid activation there. Couldn't get as far as I wanted on that last rep. Get one more set, do some rear delts, and then eat some food. Feeling pretty pumped. The upper back, just some vertical pulls, now hitting some horizontal pulls, and then some rear delts. Pretty simple. 3 sets of each, 10 to 15 range for everything. And not reinventing the wheel, really. Just hard work, making sure those sets are near failure, and in some cases, to failure. So, speaking of, didn't have a lot of high hopes going into this workout. I knew I was going to come in, like always, do my best, go as hard as I can. Like I kind of mentioned, the day has been long, and stress has been pretty high. Life comes at you sometimes, and yeah, so don't ever assume you know what everyone's going through, and it takes you 2 seconds to just make someone's day better. So, you know, you see someone struggling, reach out, let them know, hey, I'm here, I got you, you're not alone, you're never alone, all these things. I mean, life is hard enough when everyone's nice to you, when everyone worships you. There's not a single person in this world that hasn't gone through it, isn't going through it. No matter what you have, you could have $1 billion in the bank account, you could have a house in every country. The struggle isn't the same, but we all have a struggle. So, I don't know. Maybe this is a lot more therapeutic for me, just connecting on this level, and maybe I need this a lot more than you do. So, it is what it is. We'll get some rear delts, protein shake, a little banana, and then the nighttime meal. One of the most simple ways I've found to get more out of a rear delt exercise is really just trying to focus on creating as much width as possible, reaching through that shoulder complex and just trying to drag your arm out wide as possible. And then one thing my coaches had me do, just a little different, I don't know why I never thought of this, is just going from a slightly higher position to a slightly lower position, which, think about the way the shoulder works anatomically, makes a lot of sense. Ooh, that came on quick. Oh, man. That is a wrap for today. Honestly, we'll get a little pump check, see how things are looking. Probably a little different with the late night workouts. Whole belly, whole day full of food. Probably a little bit of water retention. Might not feel as flat though. So let's check it out. Learned my lesson a couple 100 times. Take the hat off before trying to take the shirt off. So big focus has been not only just back musculature, but creating more width in that back to kind of give the appearance of a more narrow waist. Obviously, some dieting and things like that will definitely help, but we're not there yet, so be patient. Just trying to get a feel for the training program, get a feel for the nutrition that my coaches got me on, and then make subtle adjustments here and there. Upping the intensity training-wise has been kind of the biggest, I guess, update, biggest news. Figure out and gauge, are we going to go into more of a bulk, more of a cut? We'll kind of see. Training staying fun, even enjoying the cardio. Never thought I would say that, but it's definitely been making a pretty good difference in terms of just my overall energy throughout the day, but also my stamina with the weights too, recovery time, all that stuff. So sitting at about 222 pounds as of yesterday. Get another check-in here next week, every Thursday. So a little back pump. Again, that is a wrap for today. Late night workout. Yeah, hopefully this headache goes away. I got a push day tomorrow. And if I don't see you, Happy New Year. We'll see how quickly it takes me to get this updated and everything. Some days I'll knock out 3 videos in a day. Some days I'll knock out 3 videos in 2 weeks. So one thing I aim to get better at in the new year. But I feel like I've talked way too much. If you're not tired of my voice prior to this, you will be.